Yeah, I don't know who needs to hear this, but this is bulletproof advice that I wish that I had received when I was younger and that I wish that I followed. So by the end of this video, you're going to be having a couple of litmus tests or BS tests with just the things that I'm telling you so that you can get through life and really just, be bulletproof and not get fucked over. And at the end of the day, they only fucked you over because you let them. So, and yeah, I'm definitely going to be cleaning my Birkenstocks and my docks today, so you get to watch that. I'm using the Dr. Airwear Martin stuff, but I don't know if that's legal or not, or should be using it, but I don't really care, so I'm using it. So the very first piece of advice that I think that a lot of people don't really even realize getting used is people use like reverse psychology on you a lot. So let's say someone says, I am a terrible person and I know I'm a bad person, and you might be inclined to hear that phrase come out of someone's mouth. Oh, I'm a terrible person, don't trust me. Like even in like a funny context, because they're getting called out for something and they're like, oh yeah, I know I'm a bad person. You're like, oh, like, dude, you never answer the phone, you're never there when people need you. It's like, yeah, dude, I never said I was gonna be a good person. And you're like, oh, ha ha ha, and then you laugh it off, and then like you allow that person to be in your life, and you realize that later they fuck you over and you're wondering why, because you tried to prove them wrong and say that they're not a bad person, whatever. But that person is indeed a bad person. And I got this advice when I was sitting with my mom, and I realized that I used it too at points in my life where I wasn't exactly the greatest person on the face of the planet, right? And people would ask me, hey, like, did you do this thing? Are you this bad person? I'm like, hell yeah, I am. And then they would laugh it off, and then there'd be no consequences for whatever happened, And let you know right now, that is a device that people use, and it works. So if someone tells you who they are from the very beginning, jump the gun, believe them, There's your piece of advice number one. Second piece of advice is to realize in life, like tomorrow I got this big photo shoot event going on, right? But I'm cleaning my shoes and making a YouTube video. I'm not stressed out about it at all. There's a bunch of stuff that I need to get, but stressing out and worrying doesn't make it easier. You either did all the things you need to do in order to get something done within your life, or you didn't, but there's no point in worrying about it, right? Like worry and stress literally get you nowhere in this world, because your mind operates in a fashion where it leads itself exactly where it was designed to go habitually. But if you get in the way of this habitual creative mechanism that you already have inside of you, you're kind of just getting in the way of the driver that's driving your car. You know what I mean? And so something that I wish I had known earlier was, instead of panicking and worrying and hoping things go right, especially like the day before something important is supposed to happen, or the moment before, just calm down. Drink yourself a milkshake. Kick back, relax, and watch the universe work for you. You've worked really, really hard to be where you are in life, and I know it doesn't always seem like that, but you didn't fall out the sky and make it here at random. You know what I'm saying? And so I think it's really good to put yourself in that context. Remember, like, hey, you worked really hard to be exactly where you are today, and everything that's happening in your life is in context, and you're going to make it work no matter what. And even if it doesn't work, right, it's probably better that it didn't, right? You're biologically designed to protect yourself from danger, from ill will, from harm, and because of this, everything that you want to happen will happen. But if you use your mind, which is just a faculty of your body, to try to solve problems, especially when it's a crunching time, your mind is going to get in the way and give you all sorts of poo-poo ideas. But if you trust yourself, trust God, trust the universe, that everything's got your back, everything will have your back. But the less that you trust yourself and allow for things to fall into place, that's where the ugly things happen in life. So that's the second thing. Remember just to trust yourself. Trusting yourself is so important. And I can see so many people just like not do it at all. It feels like nobody trusts themselves anymore in this day and age, but it's so important to remember, trust yourself. 3, you become what you think about. I've been doing this photo shoot event in my mind for the last, 2 years. People can hear about me talking about this piano that I'm going to burn on the salt flats for years. So it's either going to work out tomorrow or it's going to work out another time. Either way, It doesn't matter. But you become what you think about. So if you hold in your mind something positive, you will then become something positive in this world. So if you hold in your mind a preconceived notion, I would like to call it like a program or a belief, that everything is bad, or that people hate you, that nobody likes you, or that things are difficult, things will end up being very, very difficult in your life. But if you hold a belief inside of your mind that you're an amazing, loving person and people love you, you'll start to see these characteristics pop out in other people. And so let's give you a really good example of this. When I was living in Reno, I was living with a couple of friends. We were all super funny, right? We thought we were the funniest people on the face of the planet. But we used to always like roast each other and like poke at our own insecurities and attack each other in this light. And what would happen was eventually I got really, really good at being able to point out people's insecurities. I got really, really good at roasting people. And in turn, I ended up starting to roast people that did not need to get roasted, like people in public. Like I would be going to a grocery store and I'd be like, oh my God, like what is she wearing? Like look at those shoes, or look at her hair. Maybe she had like a deformity, like look at that deformity. And it would only be in my mind. I wouldn't say these things out loud, of course. But eventually that same thing that I was doing, this habit that I had picked up, transformed into me doing it to myself. I was able to point out my own insecurities, the way I felt about myself, how negative I could feel about myself. And these things aren't true nor false, right? They're just opinions. But if you hold these opinions all the time, it becomes what you think about and who you are. And so I eventually became super, super negative, hating life, hating myself, thinking I was just such a piece of garbage. I wasn't worthy of life. I was just, oh my God, just such a terrible, terrible human being. And eventually what I decided to do as a new habit, change my thoughts and what I think about, I started to compliment strangers in public. The first thing that I would do is just compliment every single stranger that I saw. And let's say you got a lady that's walking out the grocery store. Ooh, I love her shoes. Ooh, I love her hair. Right now, I think the biggest thing that I say is I love your hair so much. I am like obsessed with people's hair for whatever reason. Like, oh my God. If I see someone with nice hair, I'm gonna be like, I love your hair. And being able to do this, right, in turn makes you do it to yourself when you look at yourself in the mirror. And so you become this feeling of love and light. So you'll start looking in the mirror like, oh my God, I love my hair. Oh, I love my shoes. Oh, I love my laughter. Oh, I love this about myself. And then you'll start feeling it fill up the rest of your life, where you automatically start liking other things about life. Like, for example, I really like the way that this camera lens ND filter kind of just looks like super, super cool. It makes me feel like I'm a filmmaker. Even though I might not be a filmmaker, it's just super cool. It's the first thought that I have. But this habit that I'm showing you right now, I'm having you do it with people, but it really does apply to everything. I can think about all the things I don't like about the shoe, right? But the first thing I think about the shoe is I like the golden clasp. Not that there are like, I don't know, maybe there's like wrinkles in the shoe. It's like, darn, these shoes are getting old. No, I hate the shoe. But instead, the first thing I think about is how much I like the shoe. And then you'll think about how much you like the store, how much you like life, how much you like yourself, how much you love your parents, the things that you like about your parents, the things that you like about life. And that's what I'm trying to express to you, is that you become what you think about. And so if you habitually think about something negative, and even the smallest part, how you do anything is how you do everything. That's another one I really wish that I got. How you do anything is how you do everything. If you put a lot of attention and a lot of care into the small things that you do, you'll see the big things in your life really come together that way too. Attention to detail in the smallest thing, like making your bed every single day, or cleaning your desk, or cleaning your room, or cleaning your kitchen, whatever it may be, putting your attention into it will show that you put a lot more attention into everything else into your life. Also, make your bed every morning. I can't express this enough. Whenever I have felt the most lost and disconnected from the world, I think that my bed wasn't made, and making my bed every single day, cleaning my house every single day, brought me to a point where I had some sort of routine, and that feeling of routine gave me a sense of control. And I think a lot of times when we're not feeling really good about ourselves, we feel this lack of control. And so this is something I wish that I knew, is that lack of control causes a really deep feeling of discomfort in life, and we want to make sure we get over that discomfort. And a couple ways you can do that is like, one, make your bed every day, clean your house every single day, and then watch the things that you're eating. And so now this goes into the next thing, which is sobriety will bring me all the things that drugs and alcohol promised me, right? And I still struggle with this constantly because I still drink. And it's difficult for sure, because every single time you make that decision to drink, you're harming yourself and your body. And this isn't for everyone. This is like a me thing, I think, particularly because I see so many other people strive and thrive drinking. But for me, it takes away a lot of my creative aspects and my ability to do the things that I really need to do in my life and that I'm super passionate about. And so as I've become more sober, like I was sober all of last year, I drank a lot of this year, but becoming more sober again this year, I started to see myself naturally move in the net direction that I need to go, and doing all of the important things in my life, like creating more videos or speaking on camera or expressing myself or getting new ideas and really just executing on them, right? And the sobriety, there's another quote, it goes like, once you get the message, hang up the phone. And I think this goes a lot for alcohol, right? And I think they mention psychedelics. I would never mention psychedelics, right? Anyways, so it's like, once you get the message through these avenues, like once the alcohol starts sucking, it keeps sucking. You know what I mean? It doesn't get any better. Like, we keep fighting and trying to find this great one night that we used to have. At least this was for me. Like, I would just try to recreate this one amazing night that I had on alcohol or whatever. And you could spend months, weeks, years even trying to recreate that one night that never comes again. And that magical night becomes 7 years that drained your energy away. And the days that you are sober, you don't even have energy because you spent all your energy yesterday borrowing from alcohol. So that's the thing. And I'm not saying I'm perfect and that I just don't drink all the time and I'm not like Saint Mary or whatever, but I'm just saying, like, just watch the things that you're ingesting, because it's like a charge, right? Like, you're buying credit from like marijuana or alcohol, whatever else you're doing. You're borrowing that energy, right? Like, here is today, here is tomorrow, right? Today, tomorrow. There's an abundance of energy tomorrow. By the way, tomorrow doesn't exist, but that's just a thought. Anyways, you're gonna take energy from tomorrow, blast it into today, and then you're moving tomorrow, and then all of a sudden you have no energy. And you're wondering why. That's because you borrowed it all the day before or the week before. Sometimes you don't even notice, because some of these things that you use borrow from like a week ahead, not even tomorrow. You get like a boost of energy. So yeah, if you're doing that, just be mindful of it. I'm not telling you to stop, quit it, whatever. Just be mindful of it. Be mindful of the foods that are going inside your body. If you can take a food nutritionist test, food sensitivity test, try that out. See what foods are harming you. If you have like, I know I was reading this book, Think and Grow Rich, and it's like, do you suffer from indigestion? And I completely understand now. If you are eating a bunch of toxic and terrible foods inside your body, you are actively intoxicating yourself with bad foods in your bowels. And you can't possibly think properly when you're literally poisoning yourself from the inside continuously. And I was like, indigestion, what does that have to do with success? And I guess I understand fully and completely now. But understanding is different than doing, right? So I'm still in this process where I'm learning. I'm trying my best to eat the best foods. I'm working on myself and trying to avoid the things I need to avoid and adding more things in my diet. And here's the last thing. When you're trying to do something new, like you're trying to quit alcohol or you're trying to get rid of something in your life, instead of getting rid of something in your life, add something on. So instead of removing alcohol from your life, add in healthy foods. Or instead of, for me, I guess my alcohol thing is I added in videography and photography and stuff like that. And so instead of removing things from your diet, add things in so that you're doing something else. Because there's a parable, I think, in the Bible. It mentions like don't clear your mind of demons and then watch 10 more demons walk in. You can't clear your mind of something and then expect it to be filled with positive things. You have to manually input positive things into your life, right? So that your life is filled with positivity. So you can't just remove the demons and then leave the room empty. The demons will come back. The best way to put this is like, imagine you have negative thoughts inside your mind. You can't just kick out the negative thoughts of your mind. You need to replace them with positive ones. So if I'm thinking in my head, I hate my life, everything's terrible, you can't just say, no, everything's good, I live a cool, I clear it out and get rid of it and then watch the negative thoughts come back. What you need to do is remove the negative thoughts by saying thank you for sharing, what I normally do. And I like to use the phrase, if I'm really getting overwhelmed, it's really easy for me. I am so happy and grateful now that money comes to me in increasing quantities through multiple sources on a continuous basis. I am so happy and grateful now that money comes to me in increasing quantities through multiple sources on a continuous basis. I am so happy and grateful now that money comes to me in increasing quantities through multiple sources on a continuous basis. That is one that I use just for my mind. I know what the phrase says, but I don't really use it for that. I use it more of as like something I can place in my mind and repeat over and over and over again in order to remove negative thoughts from my mind. So thank you so much for being here. Go ahead, hit the follow button for more stuff just like this. I'm just super glad you got to be here for me. And take a look at this Boston, baby, and these stocks. All right, cheers.